What does that even mean, Bauer's Game Corner?
Oh, hey there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, another special Kickstarter review. And today I'm very excited to be checking out Between Two Cities from Stonemaier Games. This is for 3 to 7 players with a 1 and 2 player variant. It's for ages 8 and up, and it'll take you about 25 to 30 minutes to play. And in Between Two Cities, you're going to be drafting, you're going to be working cooperatively, and you are going to be building 2 cities. One on your right and one on your left, and you're going to be trying to make your city prosper by gaining the most points. What am I talking about? Let's open it up, see how it works. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Between Two Cities from Stonemaier Games. As always, I like to mention, this is the promotional copy I have in front of me, so take everything you see here with a grain of salt. Your copy is going to look much nicer. So first and foremost, we're going to handy dandy rule booklet. It is 9 pages, double-sided, full color, and it is fantastic. It will have you up and running in no time at all. Big thumbs up on the rule booklet. Next, what are you going to be doing in this game? Well, you're going to be, between 2 cities. You're going to be building a city on your left with the opponent on your left, and you're going to be building a city on your right with the opponent on your right. So you're going to be working cooperatively with the person on your right and your person on your left to make a 4x4 city. You're going to be creating a cube, so to speak. And you're going to be creating this cube with 6 different kinds of buildings, which we'll go into in a minute. And the way you score this game is you're going to be building your 2 cities, and you're going to score your cities, and whichever of your cities is the lowest is how many points you're going to earn. So take that into consideration. So here's the scoreboard. It's going to go from 0 to 100. You will not need this until the very, very end of the game, so we'll set that over to the side right now. Also right here, you're going to get 14 cubes that are going to come in 7 different colors. And how this works is, so for instance, we have 2 green cubes. One of these green cubes is going to be a city, then the other green cube is going to go on our scoreboard to keep track of the score at the very end of the game. So we'll have me be surrounded by the green city right here and the red city right over there. So the green city is my city, and it would also be this guy's city. Likewise, the red city would be my city, and also the person to my left's city that they're going to be working on. We can put the rest of the cubes away because we won't need them. Well, you will in a real game, but not in this hand demonstration. So, next you're going to get tiles, tiles, and more tiles. We're going to go over the tiles really quick right now, and then we'll go more in depth in a minute. So, the first kind of tiles you're going to get are going to be single building tiles. And there's going to be 6 different kinds of tiles, which we'll talk about the 6 different tiles right here. But as you can see, the tiles are very distinct what kind of tile this is. So as you can tell, this is a red tile, and it's going to be a tavern tile, and there's the scoring is down here. But we'll get more into the scoring in a second. Now, you're also going to get some of these double tiles right here that you're going to be drawing in the second round of this game, because you're going to be playing 3 rounds in the game. Now, the interesting thing about the double tiles is there's going to be 2 buildings on them. Some are going to be vertical, and some are going to be horizontal. And when you decide to play one of these tiles onto your city, you're going to have to keep it that way. So you couldn't do this. You have to make sure that this tile is vertical. So, last but not least, we're going to have our handy-dandy little score sheet tile, which is going to be helping you drastically, and we'll show you exactly how you're going to score points in this game. So the first kind of tiles that you're going to draw, these building tiles right here, are going to be shop tiles, and you're going to want to get all of these in a row. So as soon as you lay down a tile, it's going to be worth 2 points. If you can put another tile next to that, then that set of tiles is going to be worth 5 points. If you can have 3 tiles in a row, those 3 tiles are going to be worth 10 points. If you can have 4 tiles in a row, it's going to be worth 16 points. So just laying down a tile is going to get you 2 points, but when you're putting down the yellow tiles, you're going to want to have them right next to each other, and they can be horizontal or they can be vertical. Next, you're going to have factories right here. And the factories, how they work is, as soon as you lay it down, it's also going to be worth 2 points. Now, if you have the most tiles in your city, and remember, you're going to be running 2 cities at the same time, you're not going to combine your factories, you're going to get 4 points. If you have the second most amount of factories, you're going to be getting 3 points for each factory you have. And if you have, if you're tied for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever, you're only going to get 2 points for each factory you lay. So the more factories you lay, the more points you're going to get. Next, you're going to have the red ones, which are going to be taverns. Now, the taverns are going to have 4 different symbols on them. So you're going to have the beer mug tavern, the food tavern, the bed tavern, and the music tavern. And this one, you're trying to get at least one of each of those types of taverns. So for instance, if your city ended up having 4 beer mug taverns, that's not very good. You're going to score 1 point for each one of those taverns, so you'd have 4 points. However, if you have 4 red taverns and they are all different, you're going to score 17 points. So you could potentially even have 2 sets of these. It'd be very difficult to do, but then that would net you 34 points if you had 2 beer mugs, 2 forks, 2 beds, and 2 music. So that's how the red ones are going to work. Next, you're going to have offices, and well, they like to be next to taverns, but we'll talk more about that in a second. And this is just straight set collection. If you have 1 blue tile, it's going to get you 1 point. You have 2 of them, it's going to earn you 3 points. 3 of them is going to get you 6 points. Not 6 points per blue tile, but all 3 of them will be worth 6 points. It goes all the way up to 6. So if you have 6 blue tiles, boom, you're going to have 21 points. Now, the other interesting avenue of the blue tiles, much like the yellow tiles, is it does matter where you place the blue tiles. Because if you can put one of these blue tiles, the offices, next to the red tiles, which are the taverns, you're going to score a bonus point. So for instance, if you had a blue tile and it had a red to the right, a red to the left, a red up top, and a red down bottom, you're instantly going to be scoring 4 bonus points for that tavern. So you kind of want to have a checkerboard if you decide to go with the red and the blue as your strategy. Next is the green, and for new players, this is without a doubt the most tricky one, even though it's not really that tricky once you understand it. So the green are parks, and you want to have 2 in a row for parks. Not 3 in a row, not 4 in a row. You want to have 2 in a row. You want to have a cluster of parks. So as soon as you lay down a park, each park tile is going to be worth 2 points to you. However, if you can create a cluster that looks like this and has 2 in a row, either horizontally or vertically, you're going to score 3 points. If you can have 2 clusters, you're going to have 8 points. 15 points, 24 points. So essentially, if you were able to, say, get 3 clusters of parks, you're going to score 15 points for having the 3 clusters, plus you're going to score 2 points per park, which means you'd be up to 27 points on your parks. But getting the parks and clustering them is pretty difficult. Last but not least, you're going to have the houses down here. And the houses are going to reward you if you have variety in your city. Because if you live in a city, you want to have a variety of things. You don't just want to have 6 factories. So how this works is, if you have, let's just say you have 1 of each of these in your city, then each house you have is going to be worth 5 points. If you build a city and you decide, I'm not going to go with any factories, and you don't have any factories in your city, you'd mark that one out, and each house is going to be worth 4 points. So if you're going on the house strategy, you really want to diversify your portfolio. Now the house is interesting because it does matter where you place it. So as you can see right down here, if you put a house next to a factory, no matter how diversified your city is, that house is only going to score you 1 point. So you absolutely do not want to put your houses next to your factories. You'll also notice there's some numbers over here. That's just going to symbolize how many of those are in the game. So as you can see, there's 28 of the red ones, 28 of the blue ones, only 24 parks, so on and so forth. Now let's get to the mechanics of the game and how it works. This is going to be a drafting game. When you start, you are going to start with the single tiles. You're not going to be drawing any of the double tiles in the first round. You're going to go over 3 rounds. Now what you're going to do is you're going to draw 7 random face-down tiles from the center, and you're going to be taking a look at them. You're going to draft 2 of these tiles, and 1 of these tiles is going to go on the city on your right, and 1 of these tiles is going to go on the city on your left. Everyone is doing this at the same time, and you can't be talking over the table and say, hey, let's take the 2 reds, let's go for this strategy. You get to do the table talk in a second, but not when you're drafting the tiles. So randomly, we'll just say, all right, I see this goes right here, and I know that I'm going to be passing these tiles to the person on my right, and I'll say, all right, this is going to be good, because this means we can really focus on getting those 4 taverns out of the way early, so I'll take the beer one for over here, and this guy over here, let's just say we're going to go with, say, yellow, so I'm going to keep the yellow right here. Now, I've decided on my 2 tiles. I'm going to put them face down, and then I'm going to put the 5 remaining tiles I have right underneath this cube to symbolize that I have picked my 2 tiles, and I'm prepared to show them. So once everyone has placed their 5 tiles over to the side right there, everyone's going to flip over their tiles, and this is where you get to start doing the table talk. So you're going to be looking at the person, what 2 tiles they picked over here and what 2 tiles they picked over here, and you're going to say, all right, we should do this, we should do that, we should focus on this and on that, because I think we should do this. And then eventually you're going to decide how you want to do it, and you're going to put down your tiles like so, and you can do it like that or like this. You can't go like that, but you're going to be starting to build your 4x4 grid. So we might say that this guy played a red over here, so we'll do the red, and then this guy, luckily enough, played a yellow, so whew, that's a good start for both of our cities. What you're going to do next is you're going to pick up the 5 tiles that should be under the cube to your left, and then you would pick those up, and you're going to once again draft 2 of them and then pass 3 over to the right. Once you get down to being able to pick up only 3, you're going to look at the 3 remaining, you're going to discard 1 of them, and then you're going to lay down the 2 like you would do normally. So you're going to be building this city with the person on your left and the person on your right, and that's going to be the first round, and you're only going to do the single tiles with the first round. Now in the second round, things are going to get a little bit different because you're going to draw these tiles. And how this is going to work is you're only going to draw 3 of these double-sided tiles, and you're going to take a look at what you get. Then if we take a look at this, and we'd say, all right, I'm going to keep this tile, I'm going to keep this tile, and then you're going to discard the 3rd tile, get rid of it, and then once everyone has done that, you're going to reveal, and you're going to add those to your cities, like so. Last but not least, you're going to get to the 3rd round, which is going to be exactly identical to the 1st round, except you're going to be passing your tiles, not to the right, but to the left. So it's going to be the opposite. You're going to be passing to your other city, and that's the only difference. You're still going to be drawing 7 tiles out of the middle, drafting 2, passing them to the left until you have completed your city. When you get done with your city, it's going to be a beautiful 4x4 grid like, well, not like that, like this. Like so. So we'll construct that so you can get a mental image in your head. So boom, 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 boom. This actually looks like an absolutely terrible city, but I'm doing it just off the top. But each person, you're going to have 2 cities, one to your right and one to your left. They're going to look like this. They're going to be a 4x4 grid, at which point we're going to get back to our handy-dandy little scoreboard over here. You're going to start at the top, and you're going to say, all right, how much did each board score for yellow? So we'd look at this one and we'd say, all right, we got 5 points here, we got 2 here, 2 there. So we would score 9 points on the yellow. Then we'd move the green cube up 9 points for the yellow. Then everybody would do that for the yellow, go to the black, the red, the blue, so on and so forth until you have scored up all the points, at which point you're going to knock out your highest city. So for instance, if green scored 51 and red scored 47, then my score at the end of the game would be 47. Whoever has the highest score is going to be the winner of a game, and that is how Between Two Cities is played. Alright then, Between Two Cities from Stonemaier Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game is not going to be for everybody. If you hate drafting games, this game is all drafting. That's all it is. There's just 3 rounds, and there's different forms of drafting, so it might not be for you. Also, if you can't stand cooperative play, this one might not be for you, even though it's kind of a different cooperative game because you're only working with 2 people, and they both have different agendas, but it still is a cooperative game. Last but not least, the artwork that is on the prototype, it's perfectly serviceable. It looks nice, but it's nothing spectacular or outstanding, even though the box cover does look really, really cool. I'm grasping for straws here on the cons. I really am. Because let me put it this way. I have done 80, 85, 90 Kickstarter reviews and previews. This is without a doubt the best one that I have probably ever gotten. It's very close with one other one. This is a game that, when it gets out, I think it's a must-own game. It really is absolutely spectacular, and it scratches so many itches. What do I like about this game? First and foremost, I do enjoy drafting, and I enjoy the drafting in this game an awful lot. Next, this game is really simple to learn and to teach, and there's 2 reasons. First, the rule booklet is spectacularly done, but the second reason is, and this is the classic thing that you have with cooperative games, is that everyone else wants to see you succeed. In particular, the person on your right and the person on your left want to see you succeed, so they're going to be holding your hand throughout the game, being like, oh man, if you come across these tiles, you should have to be playing these tiles, because it's going to do this, it's going to do that. And before you know it, you're going to be picking this game up in no time at all. Next, this game says it plays in 25 minutes. 25 to 30 minutes absolutely does. Doesn't matter if it's 2 players, doesn't matter if it's 7 players. The game is really quick, which I love. It's not one of those 7-player games where it's like, yeah, if you play it 3 players, it's 25 minutes. If you play it 7 players, it's an hour. No, this game still is lightning quick. That is a big, big perk. Moving on with that, it's 7 players. It's another 7-player gamey game night game, and we don't have enough of those. It's like, oh, we got 7 players. What are we going to do? We can do Cash and Guns. We can do 7 Wonders. Now you got a new 7-player game you can bust out on game night. I like that an awful lot. I love the mechanics in this game. I really love the dual co-op. And I can't think of any other game that does this, and I like it an awful lot. Because you constantly have to be thinking, all right, I want to do this in this city. I want to do that in that city. And you'd be like, okay, but then other person wants to do the same thing, but they also have another agenda because they're building a city over here, and likewise the person on your right is building another city over there, and sometimes you're going to have these hard decisions where it's like, I don't want to put this tile over here, but we really need it over there, and I don't know which way to go, and both your partners are going to be like, no, you put it over here, because I know what I'm going to pass you, we need to do this, we need to do that. And you all the while have to be thinking about balancing your cities. You can't just have one super awesome city, because if you do, well, you're going to score your end game total with your other city. And I like that scoring mechanism an awful lot. I will say, though, I was not able to play the one-player version of the game, so I can't comment on that. Now, the two-player version of the game I was not looking forward to. It played so well with 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3, and the two-player version was like, I don't know how this is going to be, especially when I read it wasn't cooperative. Rest assured, the two-player version is fan-freaking-tastic. Man, my wife could not believe it. It plays lightning quick. You're building 2 of your own cities, but you're still doing in the same way where you're going to keep the lowest scoring points. This game plays fantastic 2 players, it plays fantastic 7 players, and it is a must-own and must-back game. End of this conversation. Stop watching this video. Go back the project. Between Two Cities from Stonemaier Games is an absolutely outstanding game that I think is an essential must-own game if you were starting a game collection. Now, one more thing I do want to mention that I forgot to mention, all this crazy praise I've got going on, is that this game says it plays 25 to 30 minutes. And this game packs a huge punch for 25 to 30 minutes. It does not feel like a filler game. It feels like a meatier game, and I love games that do that. So, Between Two Cities, Stonemaier Games, go check it out. If it looks like it might be your cup of tea, which I think it probably will be, go check it out on the Kickstarter link below. Tom Bowers Game Corner sent you. Also in the comments below, let me know. Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a house? Do you live in a condo? Where do you live? What kind of domicile do you live in? Let me know in the comment below. And do you like it? Also, if you enjoyed this content, please be sure to click on the subscribe button. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube. That was the review for Between Two Cities. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bowers Game Corner.